Hi, and welcome back to Beans and Bezels. Nodus have been on my radar from the very beginning of my watch reviewing journey, but each time they released a new watch, I either didn't have the money to spare or didn't really connect with their design. But when I saw the Marina dial option of their latest sector field collection, I had to check this out. I love field watches and I love the color blue, and more importantly, I love not having to spend enormous amounts of my own money to review a watch that I'm interested in, so it all worked out. The sector field collection is offered in 4 very interesting dial colors and costs $425, which includes the metal bracelet. Nodus is based out of California and their watches are assembled and regulated here in the United States, but manufactured in Asia. Let's check this out. The case measures 38mm in diameter, 47mm from lug to lug, and 12.75mm in height. The dimensions are a bit peculiar on paper, but they don't look awkward on the wrist. The case is mostly bead blasted and has some polished accents along the sides and on the step case surface. The lugs are quite long, curved down slightly towards the wrist, and have chamfered inner surfaces and polished outer bevels. The lugs are drilled through, but the holes are a bit awkwardly located, both in terms of design and in terms of functionality, as we'll see a bit later. This is a stepped case design similar to the Baltic HMS2 that I recently reviewed. The sapphire crystal sits above this, which has a very unique design with an angular edge that has lots of distortion and aliasing. I think it looks very cool. The crystal has a domed and AR coated inner surface and a flat top. You have an oversized and signed screw-down crown at the 3 o'clock position that I absolutely love. The grip is excellent and there isn't any crown or stem wobble. Really well executed crown here. Flipping it over, you have a solid screw-down case back with a geometric engraving. This watch is rated for up to 150 meters of water resistance. Okay, let's get to the good stuff though. This dial design and color are enough of a reason to buy this watch at $425. I love the blue gradient and all the different surfaces and elements just come together very nicely. There is a raised dark blue minute track that has thin white ticks for every minute, thick white ticks for every increment of 5, and thicker light blue rectangles at the 4 axes. I did notice some microparticles here, but none visible to the naked eye. You then have 3D printed indices that are entirely made of Lume and are surrounded by printed black borders. This combination of colors is very easy to read and just looks incredible in person. Moving inward to the inner circular disc, you have a 24-hour marker set that are printed very well. There are recessed sections to this disc and give you a look at the well-matched light blue base. You then have the brand's name and logo at the 12 o'clock. The finishing here is a little disappointing and has an area of missing paint, a strand of fiber, and a stray paint particle. But again, this isn't visible to the naked eye and can only be seen under a loop or macro lens. There is a circular date window at the 4:30 position. Nodus tried to make up for this awkward position with the color matched date wheel background, and I think it worked. The date window doesn't ask for much attention and blends in well with the rest of the dial. The hour and minute hands are very well proportioned, painted white and generously filled with lume. No complaints here, and I think the design works really well with the rest of the dial. The seconds hand is a bit more bold and is painted light blue with a loomed arrowhead tip. The seconds hand reaches all the way to the seconds track and the entire watch is very easy to read, as you would want from a field watch. Overall, even with the minor finishing anomalies, this dial is a total win. The lume on this watch is well executed both in terms of design and the quantity of lume used. According to the Nodus website, all the loomed elements are grade X1 TC1 superluminova. I'm not sure what TC1 is, but it looks a lot like BGW9. On the dial, the entire set of 3D printed indices is made of lume, shines bright and has good longevity. The hands are very generously loomed too, and this includes the arrowhead tip of the seconds hand. I also compared it against my Nemoto & Co lume on the Van Dyck TFC, which is closer to Seiko in terms of brightness and longevity, and the Nodus held up well. I like and dislike the bracelet. I like it because the bead blasted finish looks really well executed, the links are very well made, and the screw-based pins made it effortless to resize. The clasp is also reasonably well made with 3 micro adjustment slots and polished edges. I dislike it because I don't completely understand the end link design and how it fits into the rest of the bracelet. From a construction standpoint, everything is great. There isn't any wiggle at the case joints and the bead blasted finishing is matched well. But the drill through lug holes appear to be too high up and the end links do not gracefully flow into their respective next links. There is a steep drop, and because of the fully articulating center links, you end up seeing the side surfaces of the center links as well as the sharp edges at the end links. This doesn't have any impact on comfort but does accent the case height and looks a bit ugly. This watch uses a Seiko NH35A movement that is regulated by Nodus in 4 positions. I logged the accuracy of this movement over a 3-day period and observed roughly plus 5.4 seconds per day. For a Seiko NH35, I'll happily accept this accuracy. I left it dial up overnight the first day that I got it and observed closer to plus 15 seconds per day, but I didn't test that out enough to make any bold claims. On my 6¼ inch wrist, the 38mm case diameter wears nicely, although I think the 47mm lug-to-lug width is on the larger side of what I would prefer for this watch given its hefty lugs. The case height of 12.75mm is on the taller side of what you'd expect from a watch like this, and if the bracelet didn't droop off the end links, you wouldn't notice this height at all. Sized for my wrist, this watch and bracelet weighs 140 grams, so it's not a heavy watch but not a light one either. Overall, I'd say it's a comfortable watch, and given this interesting combination of dimensions, is going to look good on a wide range of wrist sizes. To wrap this up, I will admit that I nitpicked at a few aspects of this watch more than I should have for a $425 watch, but the entire watch community holds Nodus to very high standards, so I set mine accordingly. But that said, I absolutely love this watch, and I think that it's easily worth the $425 price tag. The dial is incredible, the finishing is good, the movement is very well regulated, and the bracelet is acceptable. I recently reviewed another sector dial watch, the $465 Baltic HMS2, which is going for a very different design aesthetic altogether, but if you offered both of these watches to me, I would pick the Nodus in a heartbeat. There's just so much value being delivered here. As always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to read the full length review in the link below.